Hello, and welcome to Going 19, the Stephen King podcast, where we will be reading the short story, The Little Sisters of Eluria, which is in the short story book, Everything is Eventual. Everything is Eventual. My name is Allie. With me are Amber and Ed. Let's start the show.
Hello.
Yeah. So, Amber, did you figure out why I thought maybe we should include this?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, well, it's also, I don't know if this is when it was written, but it's clearly in between.
It's while it says it in the book. It's while he's on the trail of the man in black.
Well, no. I mean, the way, like, the beginning, it only goes up to Wizard and Glass, so it's clearly meant to fall in between Wizard and Glass and Wolves of the Calla. Even though it's about before the gunslinger, I guess.
Yeah, it's not set in that timeline.
Yeah,
that's not what you mean, right?
No, never mind. It makes sense that we read it chronologically now. Oh, it's because it was written. Okay, now I see that.
Yeah, it was. Wait, what year is this one? I'm not even sure. I don't have the
1998.
Okay, so after. Wait, let me think. Wizard and Glass was 97, or was that wait
Yeah,
times?
he has the years at the beginning. So yeah, Wizard and Glass was 97.
So he wrote this right after that.
So we kind of read it like right when he wrote it, even though we were not chronologically, I guess. But you wouldn't. I don't think you'd want to read this before Gunslinger. It's kind of like a prequel.
If we read this before we read Gunslinger, I would have been even more confused.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's no way you start with that one. But I think it's. Yeah, I like where it is on the timeline. I like where I put it because.
I like both.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. We're just gonna have to get through this because the shit's about to hit the fan, and this is relevant for Allie, someone that you know who is coming back. But let's stop all that nonsense right now.
Oh, I didn't even put that connection together either.
Yeah, that's mainly why I can't really talk about it.
Yeah,
there's so much. The doctor vampires. I don't know what they are necessarily, and like you were saying in the text about we both know where all the monsters come from, but we can't say it yet. So 5, 6, and 7's about to get real. So I feel like I've been on a break since Wizard and Glass, kind of. Even though we did Bobby and Ted, and now this one. Well, this one's at least back into Midworld, and
we also did.
It was almost
the Keyhole.
That's right. Yeah, that kind of feels like a break too. Even though, again, it's the tower, but it's if you skipped it, you would not be any worse for well, you'd be worse, but you wouldn't.
You wouldn't miss anything like essential to the plot.
Right.
No, that was the last book. I'm like, we've learned a lot from these short stories about the actual tower.
Yeah, most of what I learned was in that paragraph at the end of Low Men in Yellow Coat.
Yeah.
Right. But when through the keyhole, like, you don't really miss anything.
Nope.
Yeah, so it's been like 2 months since we've done some real Dark Tower stuff here. So
yeah,
I think this was a good way to get back into Midworld because that's where we're going next. So let's talk about next and talk about this one. But Allie, what do you think? Actually, neither one of you have read this before, but Amber's perspective is going to be a little different, I think. Because you've read what's after it.
I will say it took me way too long to realize they were vampires. I was just like, oh, they're demons that suck blood. Oh, and they don't like religious symbols. Oh, and they can't be in the sun. Oh, wait a minute.
I didn't even put that together that was a cross, and that's why they couldn't touch it. And didn't even dawn on me.
They kept saying God or gold, and I'm like, aren't I'm pretty sure we know it's God here, right?
Yeah, these are vampires from a long time ago, back when like religious symbols still bothered them and stuff.
Wouldn't they be like I forgot already? What's he called from Salem's Lot? The super vampires?
Barlow? Oh, the type 1? Wait. No, that's not type 1. Um,
Actually, I think it is, but we don't know that yet.
right, right. What did he call them? Like the like Barlow ones, the super
like
vampires. I
the
can't think of the
originals
name.
or something like that. Like, wouldn't that make them like that, or it's not? I don't know.
He would
Yeah.
think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Different worlds, different rules.
Well, it's the same. Like it's Roland's world, but
but Salem's Lot wasn't.
You're right. That's a good point. Maybe that's.
But doesn't mean Barlow wasn't from Midworld.
And
we don't know where that guy's from.
And who knows? Maybe there are different types of vampires.
Like ones and twos, maybe. I think. Yeah, I think a lot of things. So does Barlow turn in? Wait. Let's see if we have. So the bugs are not the vampires, or are they?
The doctors.
But they kind of like suck your blood out too, right? Don't they?
She said at the beginning that we serve them and they serve us, and I don't know what that means. like you were saying, are they fixing up these people so that they can be healthy enough to have their blood sucked, or are they also just getting some before they get killed? Like they're clearly healing them.
Are they real doctors? Or are they just like, are they like fattening up the pig for the slaughter?
He watched the guy heal like in real time.
Yeah.
Before they ate him.
You think that the bugs aren't drinking their blood at all?
Right.
It's more like they're, like you said, like they're fixing the people so that the sisters can drink, like fixing them to kill them.
Yeah.
I'm fixing them to kill them.
And like I know that we're not gonna have these questions answered, but like there's so many questions. I'm like, what the heck does the dark bells mean? Like, how does she control them? Like, why is she different?
Because otherwise he would have never got out of there.
Well, yeah, I get that. But I'm like, does dark bells have anything to do with Dark Tower, or is that just a coincidence?
She clearly is like more powerful than the rest, right? Because they kind of don't like her rebellious attitude, but they're also scared of her.
That's what I didn't get. I was like, if they knew she could control the bugs, why were they giving her any grief in the first place? I guess they thought she wouldn't do it. I don't know.
What, is she the only one that can control the bugs?
Or maybe well, no, wait, yeah.
I don't know. The dark bells clearly set her apart, but I don't really know how, because no one else seemed to be able to do that.
Well, not to jump right to the end, but it also like it seemed like he was insinuating that the bugs were her at the end, but like it wasn't her the whole time, right? Or was it?
Well, no. I thought he turned into them.
I could be wrong, but the way I read that was that she was using her power. She is the bugs, and she was using her power to like create that form.
Yeah. At the end, yeah, but I don't think she was always the bugs. I think like because she had eaten with the sisters, she had to turn into them or something because she took that extra step to be able to control them the way she did.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she was clearly a part of them. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, it's just in the when Roland and she are escaping, she even said like, "You didn't. Oh, then you're doomed." Like,
yeah, that something about her being damned already. She's like, I'd rather be in charge of my own damnation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why did she? Yeah, spoiler alert. But was that her only option? To just sit there and burn,
bug out?
Right?
Is that what happened? That's what I thought at first. I was like, oh, she's a vampire. She can't be in the sun. But then it seemed like
Well, when he went to sleep, I was like, oh, no, 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 no. You don't go to sleep and wake up at dawn. I think I know what's going to happen.
But he made it seem like she, like, dissolved into the bugs.
It was almost, and I wrote this, I wasn't ready to do that just yet, but it was almost like weirdly romantic at the end. I was kind of like, oh, like, wait a minute. No, she just turned into a bunch of bugs. And if she was like controlling that, whatever that was, the bugs and talking to him. So I'm going, wait. So she still has consciousness and she's this bug thing. And that sounds like it could be pretty awful, like Elevation.
Yeah. I mean, that's, maybe that's the damnation. Maybe if you drink as a sister, you turn into a doctor bug.
Yeah. So, right. Are the bugs all former sisters?
Maybe. I don't know. It is definitely a creepy little story.
Is that a promotion or do they all strive to be bugs one day?
So strange. And just also I did not need, I'm still feeling it now, the imagery of the bugs crawling all over and fixing and him feeling him in his back, and I'm like, thank you for that.
Yeah, at first you don't know what it is. You just know, like, whatever that is, like, on the one hand, it's making you better, clearly. On the other hand, I don't want to know what that is. It's not going to be good. You're like hanging in a silk web, first of all, or whatever the hell that is, with like straps. You're not even in the, wasn't even, there was beds, and I didn't realize that the place was like a big illusion, because apparently it's like a 2-man tent when you walk outside.
Yeah.
But inside there was like 100 beds or something. So they're not even, or at least he wasn't laying in the bed. He was suspended above the bed, which okay.
Well, I think that was because of how badly his back had been, like he couldn't lie down.
Yeah, it was a very spidery feel to it. Like I just pictured a big giant, Pennywise to come out of the shadows or something at the end there.
I was just I was very concerned that this would be a spider story, and I was very glad when it ended up being like beetles, because like it's still creepy. It's still not the best visual or the like sensation to imagine beetles crawling all over you, but I can deal with that more than a spider.
Beetles, make more sense. I could see them. I don't know why, but I could see that happening more with beetles than spiders.
Well, because spiders don't typically like roam over things together. You know what I mean? Like you're used to seeing like a bunch of beetles together.
Yeah.
Right? Like a time-lapse camera where they eat a body or something.
Okay,
not that
sure.
That's not a helpful image. I'm thinking like ancient Egypt or something.
Now we know what you're watching.
Like scarab beetles.
Oh, I've done nothing all day. I went and spent too much money on spider and Nike clothes. So I went back to the store you hate, but a different one, a different TJ Maxx, and they had all kind of spider stuff. So I had to buy it. Cool. So, and then I came home and watched Stephen King and like read some Stephen King stuff. I'm like halfway through Fairy Tale now because I've been reading that for a week and a half. So I'm like, he's about to go into Fairy Tale world. Like he did a little exploratory mission. Now he's going to do it for real. And of course, there's like an emergency, like the dog's dying, so he has to go try to save the dog, that kind of thing. But he even acknowledges that he feels like a fairy tale character in the book, which I thought was funny. He was like, my dad went away for 4 days. I'm having an emergency. Our hero mentor, the old man died that introduced him to the fairy tale world. So he's like, geez, I feel like I'm in a fairy tale. Like, wait a minute. So I don't even know what point there was, but there's Easter egg. There's many Dark Tower Easter eggs in Fairy Tale, so he's still up to his old tricks.
I mean, there's Dark Tower and everything. Even when there's not, there still is.
Even when there's not, it's what it became. Almost like, oh, so you like Stephen King? Well, you're gonna have to read the Tower, so you might as well get it out of the way. Otherwise, nothing else will make sense. Well, I mean, it will if you never read the Tower, but just not in as cool a way as it could. You could read Stand and never know a thing about the Tower and be all right.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But there's so much more there. You read the Stand after the Tower, right?
Yeah, and it was nice.
That'd be a cool Yeah, that'd be a cool way to do it.
It's also like a mini version of the tower. Just like people coming together, you know, for Ka.
Yeah, it was like his prep for the tower. Like, just let me write one 1,500-page book, and then they'll think about writing 4 more.
It was definitely fun to read this story. Like, I haven't read a new Stephen King book in a while, or story in a while, and it's just like it. You know, it's not very long, but I read it very quickly because I was like, "What?" It's got the perfect amount of mystery and like just revealing little by little. I'm like, I need to know what's going on.
And it was just long enough. Yeah, I was totally enthralled by it. Or maybe that's why I mentioned fairy tale, because for that very reason. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know the last time that I read a Stephen King story, but I didn't know what was going to happen. So it's kind of cool. The perspective is definitely different. And this story is like the perfect look. It's the perfect like length. It's perfect pace. It's got that like air of mystery about it the entire time, but it doesn't drag on too long. Like, figure out pretty quickly he's fucked and this is a bad situation. You don't know what it is, but it's bad because, you know, well, it's Stephen King, so you knew that on page 1 pretty much. But and then you know, okay, I need an ally, I need to get out of here, and I need to go to the tower. So that was basically the rest of the story. I don't know. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I don't know what was her name? Sister. Who's the one out them?
Started with a J. Jewel.
Jenna.
What is it?
Jenna.
Yeah.
I don't know what her motivations were. Why was she like risking everything for this guy? Because he kissed her or said she was pretty one time? No, she was already risking everything before he said that, though. Well, didn't he do that like at the end or something?
You know, that
Didn't she ask him?
Question, because there were 20 other people in there before she didn't care about saving.
Right. What made him different?
Ka, apparently. No, it
Howard's
said
answer,
that.
Ka.
It was pretty.
It said that toward the end of the story. It was like, why did something? And then he was like, he said the only answer that made sense, Ka. Now let's move. I'm like, no, that's not how it's gonna work. Okay.
I just picture like Eddie pointing a gun at his head. Like, if you say Ka one more fucking time. I don't know if that actually happened, but I can picture it. I know he says "fuck you" in your Ka to him.
Wait, I found it. Why, Jenna whispered. Oh, wait. Oh, I was talking about the dog, the cross dog, which thank God he didn't kill in the beginning. Literally.
Yeah, which God would that be?
Why, Jenna whispered. Why would it come? Why would it stay? And why did it take her on as it did? Roland of Gilead responded as he ever had and ever would when such useless, mystifying questions were raised. Ka.
And it doesn't even bother him. He's not just troubled by it. He's like, Ka.
Yeah, this is Ka. Come on, get as far as we can from this place before we head up for the day.
Let's walk like 12 miles before you die. That sounds like a good plan. I mean, they did have to get away, I guess, but the sisters. How did Mary? Is that what her name? Mm-hmm. The evil henchman. That's funny they named her Mary. She was out in the sun, right?
No,
when they were fighting,
attacked by the dog, didn't she?
Oh no, that was before they. No, that was the night, because that was before they left, right? So it was still dark out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no. I forgot about the dog. I just remembered. Now I know what you're saying, Amber.
I also did not know what he meant by cross dog. It totally went over my head, and I was like, whatever that means. And then later on, it was like, it was the dog. It had a cross burned into its skin or its fur, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I kind of skipped that, or that didn't sink in. I just heard cross dog, and I was like, all right. I heard cross dog, and then at the end, the dog attacked. So two things. He called it a cross dog, so I'm thinking silver bullet.
Well, that's what I thought was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, Allie, have you read that?
Read what?
Or seen a movie? Silver Bullet.
No.
Yeah, but
Corey
that's
Haim.
not vampires, is it?
No, but it's. If you haven't read it, don't listen or stop or fast forward. The priest is the werewolf. So he was calling it a cross dog. So that's where my mind was going. I'm like, oh, so this is like, is it the same werewolf?
Yeah.
And then I was like, it could also be a skin man since we just learned about them.
That's true.
True.
And he wrote Wind Through the Keyhole after this, right? Yeah, he wrote Wind Through the
Way
Keyhole.
after, yeah. Like,
Yeah, that's the last one he wrote.
yeah.
So that's what I was thinking when he was saying crossdog. I was like, wait, is it a skin man? Does it turn into anything else?
Well, the whole God or gold kind of confused me because I'm like, wait, what does gold have to do with anything? Like, I would get silver, but like, since when? I guess gold crosses maybe burn vampires, but I'm like, is that a thing? Like, I didn't know that.
I mean, I think it was when Salem's Lot came out. Maybe not necessarily when this came out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh wait, 97. This is pre-Twilight still, right? Before we
I
had.
get a cross, but like just gold in general. I was like, what is I don't know. Whatever. I'm just gonna go with God here.
I don't
I think
remember.
there's like different mythology on like any pure metals. So like gold or silver would
Mhm.
bother supernatural creatures.
That would make sense.
There's a show on history called Big History, and one episode is like, why the hell do we like gold so much? And basically, there's no answer. We just do. We like it because we always have, and like we killed millions of people over the stupid metal. There's all the gold we've ever mined in the entire world would fill like 2 swimming pools or something in the entire history of time. Which, to me, I'm going, wait a minute. Every like silicon chip has gold in it. There's no way that can be true.
It's a scam.
Yeah, gold is. That was just a weird. Sorry, a gold tangent there. I've never heard vampires and gold being a thing. Maybe it was just the cross. So
Yeah.
it was, but it was a round. So it was like a round medallion with a cross on it, right?
Yeah. Or I think it just said God on it, didn't it? I don't even. Maybe no, must have. I don't remember.
It was a rectangle, and it was like it said at the very beginning of the story.
I thought what she had in her hand, it was like a circle that was burning her, but I may have just interpreted that.
Well, that's the other thing I wanted to say real quick. I'm like, oh wait, I get that it hurts, but like, can't you just take the pain for a few seconds to take it off?
Right, baby, walk it off.
Gloves on.
See, that's what Michael would have done.
Yeah, so it's a gold medallion that says James, loved of family, loved of God.
Why did he have to pretend to be his brother? What did that do for him?
No, I think they just were
Because
saying,
the medallion said James.
yeah.
Well, who cares? Who cares what they think? I mean, why are we lying to him? Did that buy him like
I do kind of
life?
agree.
Bottom time.
They weren't going to take it off of him anyway.
Right. The only one who could do that was the drunk slow mutant. Yeah, and I don't see slow mutants overtaking Roland. First of all, they're slow.
Right.
Well, they kind of did though. Like the very beginning of the story, he ends up with the sisters because they
I think that's what he's talking about.
love him.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Just like your old pal Gasher, he would have shot him and asked questions later.
Well, how come? Why are these guys so daring that to just come out in the sun and risk dying to beat him up? I don't understand.
Yeah, what are they like the scout team for the fucking vampires? No, because they said they were gonna kill him, and then sisters were like, "No, we're gonna take him," or something like that.
Yeah.
So there was many things that happened there. Like, first of all, the slow mutants didn't kill him for some reason.
Wait,
Sisters didn't kill him. The fucking And how come the werewolf like only went to her,
A werewolf.
the dog? I think it was
Oh,
the werewolf.
oh. Ka, obviously.
Ask a stupid question, right?
Yeah. Definitely lots of questions, but it's also that's kind of a great Stephen King story. It's like you don't need to be given everything. That's not really the point. And then it has a not terrible ending, so it's like nice. It's a good story.
Yeah. I just watched The Mist.
I can't
I like
remember. Did he greenlight that or no?
I don't know that he had anything to do with it. It's Frank Darabont who does mostly Stephen King jail movies, and that one because he did Green Mile and Shawshank.
Oh, I was like, what is a Stephen King jail movie?
Yeah, he was like, that's the running joke. If you got a Stephen King jail movie, I'll do it. I don't know. He probably just said sure.
No, I mean that for them to change the ending. It's like we know he wasn't okay with Stanley Kubrick's ending. I wonder if he was okay with that one.
He was probably fucking taking a bath in a sea of gold. Like, sure, whatever, do what you want.
That sounds exactly like him.
Doesn't it though? Maybe. Well, okay. The bathtub was in the library. How about that?
Full of books.
That he built. I don't know how involved he was in that. Honestly, I know Kubrick. I would say like that was that first when he was first starting out. So I think he wanted to establish him like that it was not his and that's not what he was. Not. I guess that was probably the first time he found out that when he sold them, the movie, they could do what they wanted to it, and he was pissed about that. So I think I don't know, maybe he did because I was thinking that because usually there's some kind of hero's journey or redemption or hope at least like doing a lot of mist talking I guess with just watching it because like at the end of The Mist they hear Hartford on the radio.
Yeah, but that's not all of his stories, so
they don't have happy endings, but there's some kind of.
What about the raft?
The raft?
Yes.
Well, I guess. Well,
what about Salem's Lot? I mean, sorry, Pet Cemetery. I guess the lesson.
Well, that was technically open-ended. You don't know how that went. He wait. I don't want to.
Okay. Anyway.
We may do that at some point, so I don't want to get too far into that. But it was open-ended, even though it wasn't. It all technically was. Okay, so not always, but he says he likes to. There's usually some way to feel good about it. The Mist is so brutal. And then the army like rides by and he's on the ground screaming his head off. It's like, oh, I just wanted it to be over. Like when she was doing the whole religious cult thing and they're starting and they're like sacrificing the soldier. Like, oh, I was so mad at TV. Still, every time I watched it, it was a religious nothing. Anyway, back to this one. Maybe I shouldn't have done Stephen King all day. Talking about all this other stuff.
Well, as he always says, it's about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, clearly the destination was not good. It was a different twist than the book, though, so I did like that. The movie kind of gave you hope, and after all hope was gone, kind of fucked up. Where were we? Forgot.
I was just saying it's a good story. Very creepy.
I think I was going to agree with you and say it has like all the right elements. Like, yeah, it's the right length, it's the right pace. Like, it's almost bordering on a slow pace, but it just quick enough to keep going. Okay, and then once you get into the doctor bugs and the floaty vampire slurping on the guy next to him. Then I just kept reading. I couldn't put that shit down if I wanted to.
Oh, and then of course the element of like the paralytic and them, him being drugged but still having to eat, and it's like, oh, this is such classic like horror.
Yeah.
I mean, did he have to eat? He was only there a couple of days, right?
It's not they would not have let him not eat it though, I think is the thing.
What were they gonna do? Kill him?
Apparently he thought that like
I'm saying they were gonna do that anyway. I mean, I was kind of like, once he figured out what they were up to and how fucked he was.
but he
Like,
wasn't.
why was he still eating the soup? Why was he cooperating with them? Why was he eating the soup? Why was he pretending he was that guy's brother? Why wasn't he just like, fuck you? I'm not doing anything. You know?
Well, he survived and you weren't there, so
Right? When you're hanging in a silk web above a bed with a bunch of Dr. Buggles healing you so the vampires can eat you, you can do it the way you want.
mm-hmm. While they're drugging you.
And
And eating all of the other people in the room. That was also a great moment where he was like, wait, how many of you were there? He was like, there were like 20 of us. And you're like,
oh, I know. He's like, yeah, they go get better and they take them somewhere else. I'm like, oh, man, no, they don't. And how long have they been doing this? Why isn't Little Sisters of whatever continent that is? So if it's 20 people that were just with him, how long have they been there? Like, how many people are we talking about?
That's a good point. Like, if they do one a night, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I like how they were all fat and happy and like rosy cheeked the next day after I ate the guy next door. It's like, oh man. They were all like doody doody doo and floating, and nobody looked like an old hag anymore, I think he said.
I do like the description of like them constantly like a shimmer back and forth between like the youthful selves they're trying to portray and their actual selves.
Yeah. Their antique crones' faces were framed in wimples just as white. Well, not even sure what a wimple is. Is that the thing on your cheek?
I took it to
Oh,
be
that's
some
a
kind of
dimple.
hat or like a hairpiece.
I like how he says, now opening his eyes and seeing Rhea not just once, but 5 times over. He's like, what?
I thought that was real for a second. I was like, oh God. Wait, isn't she is she dead? I don't remember. I don't think so.
I mean,
Yes.
no. Yes, wait.
I don't remember. Whatever.
No, she's not dead.
Okay.
No, she's dead, and he killed her somewhere outside of our knowledge.
Oh, right.
Because we were like, man, I want to see that story. He's like, that's a tale for another day.
Yeah. Okay.
But if she was one of the Little Sisters, that would almost make sense. Why she was out there in the hut. You only saw her at night. Her power to like hypnotize people. Mm-hmm.
Could the other sisters hypnotize people? I guess vampires were supposed to be able to. They
Well,
didn't
yeah,
seem to
just
be
in
able
general.
To.
Not enough to take the medallion off, anyway. Maybe the medallion was blocking their hypnotic powers.
Not enough, maybe, because they say not enough to do anything.
I mean, clearly they weren't like grade A vampires. They were almost like that was almost like a vampire academy where you go to like train for the like the police academy or something.
They're like slow mutant vampires. I like how sorry, bowler hat guy said that. He was like, I know you're not gonna kill me and drink my blood because it will kill you or you'll be green or something like that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed his character.
He was able to do a lot more things than I ever gave a slow mutant credit for. Like talk and drink alcohol and have a conversation and think about future and past. Like I thought they were zombies.
Well, I guess slow mutant is probably a very like a very encompasses a broad group of people. Like there's probably different levels.
There's faster and there's different levels of slow. And they're all like green toxic, like they rolled in a pile of nuclear waste.
Well, it's implied that there was some kind of nuclear war or something.
I think who was it? Eddie was thinking about that, or somebody was talking about it. Was not just a nuclear, or maybe it was Blaine. Not just like a nuclear war, but something much worse. Like the nukes were only part of what happened, and not like almost not the most significant part. They were just like a side effect. So how anybody's alive after that, I don't even know.
Yeah, it is interesting that like when did this and was it after, like they were in Hambry and stuff like that? Like, because how is Roland just fine walking around if there was some cataclysmic event?
Well, the world.
Oh, that's a good point. I guess that had already happened.
The world had already moved on, but the civil it would be like Atlantis. Like the civilization they're in is not the one that they there was one before them that they don't know anything about except the shit that they left around.
Right.
So the world moved on before we met anybody, but the arson shit hit the fan sometime after Hambry and before this, because this is after Hambry, because he's on MIB's trail.
Yeah.
Who's that Family Guy? BK. Oh, no, it's not MIB, it's BK. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Every time I say MIB, it makes me think of
Men in Black.
Yeah. And then I got Peter Griffin in my head, but he was doing the Black Knight, not the Men in Black. That's where I was with that. Yeah, so it's clearly before he's on the beach, but I mean, I guess the question, well, not the beach, before he catches MIB.
It seems like, because it makes a comment, I think at the end or somewhere, he's like, I'll buy another horse or a mule soon. And I was like, oh, so this must be right before or sometime before he gets.
Because he has Cappy, right? In the gunslinger? Is it Cappy?
Yeah, I think so. I don't, maybe.
He has the mule, he doesn't have the horse anymore.
Right.
Right?
So I think it's implied that this is,
not long before that, right?
Right.
Well, long enough that his mule's about to die now in the gunslinger, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't it die? Doesn't it just like keel over or like, fuck it, I can't do this shit anymore?
Well, his what's his name tells him? Xander? No,
yeah, I think it is. Wait,
is it Xander? Or is that the
might
bird?
be with it. Zoltan is the bird.
Right. Well, whoever
Brown. Something Brown is the guy's name.
Right.
He's like, I don't really want to listen, but clearly you have a need to tell it, so you might as well just tell me.
Well, after Roland wakes up, he's like, your mule died. He's like, oh well.
Right? An unrelated topic. Do you want a steak sandwich? Yeah, so this is before that. I guess, yeah.
Do you remember if Roland mentions in the gunslinger or since then that he had fought the slow mutants before? Did he say that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I have to go.
That wouldn't necessarily matter.
No, I know. It's just obviously because this was written, 20 years later. But
I'm sure he's. Well, my point being, I'm sure there's not only 2 times in his life he's fought slow mutants.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's also fair.
Although the 2 times that we know of, it really didn't end too well. I mean, he got his ass kicked the first time. Actually, got his ass kicked both times because he lost Jake.
I was gonna say he survived both times. Nobody else did.
Well, death, but not for you, Gunslinger. Yeah, he's 0 for 2. Oh, I guess he's 2 for 2. But everyone don't. Yeah. If Roland ever tells you there's slow mutants coming up, fucking run the other direction. Well, actually, no, he's 1 for 2, I guess, because he should have been dead. In this one, he didn't beat them in any way, shape, or form.
No, he would have been dead for sure without Jenna and the cross dog.
Right, giving them her cocaine plants. What? And still, somebody calls somebody a pube, and they're like, "What? What the hell's a pube?" I'm like, "How do you like?" That's the first thing. I don't know. I don't know how these people don't know what a pube is.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't know. I don't know why, but maybe it's because I've read them. But to me, it's like,
That's a good
pubic hair, puberty, like it all makes sense.
I don't expect him to remember that, but it is funny that he kind of threw that in there. Like, hey, you've heard this word before. You could have
Well, I
saved
think
Jake.
by this point, he has that super fan that used to write him letters and complain about everything he got wrong. So he just like hired him. He's like, all right, now tell me everything. And so he probably has that guy going, hey, man, this would be a good spot to mention the pubes.
No. I mean, I don't expect Roland to remember that one time. But he has heard it before. He could have had that knowledge to save Jake. But, well, he did save him anyway, but he wouldn't have been kidnapped.
Wait, if Roland had remembered this?
Well, I don't remember exactly. Never mind. I don't think that would have made a difference. Maybe he would have kept a closer eye on Jake if he knew what pubes versus grays meant.
I mean, right? I would have. Pubes and grays is pretty self-explanatory, if you ask me.
See, I don't feel that way, but
I mean, what happens when you get old? You go gray.
Do you not have pubes when you're old?
They're gray. So it applies. The pubes is more of a puberty than like a pube thing.
Bro, right. See, and that's what I think of when, like, I don't think of puberty.
Anyway, enough puberty talk. I don't know. Maybe I've just read so much Stephen King. I know it. Like I don't know, fourth time going beginning to end. I think on this film. I always forget most of it anyway. So. Well, some parts. Yeah.
I like the way that he introduces a lot of the sounds too. It's a lot of sounds because it seems like he can't see a lot of the time. Just like how we hear the bells from the beginning and the thumping of the dog trying to get the boot off or get the foot in the boot. And the bugs. He can hear the bugs from the beginning. That's right. I forgot about that.
They sing when they heal, I guess. They're like the freaking elves. It's probably like a trance thing, right? There's what's that movie where it's Dreamcatcher, where they're like taking over. Spoiler alert, maybe. I did spoiler alerts on 20-year-old books.
Sure.
Dreamcatcher, when they're like invading your brain and they're like, there's nothing wrong. It's all okay. Nothing's going on here. Everything will be fine. Don't worry. Like while they're taking over your body. It has that kind of, it's like a trance-inducing thing while they're healing you. I think. It'd just be like, oh, like, because the music's very, like, what do you say, melodious and like, relaxing is what I took from it.
I just like the way it sets up the sound. It's more mystery. It reminds me of the drums in Blood, or
yeah.
God drums. Velcro Fly, which is the weirdest song to pick because it's anyway. We've been through that. So are the how do I say it? Are the bugs just bugs being manipulated by the sisters, or are they? And are they all? I don't know. How many bugs make a sister? Because clearly she turned into the bugs, right? Are these just ordinary bugs that are like now possessed for the rest of their lives, which can't be very long, I would assume. What happened? Yeah, because bugs don't. How long the beetles live?
It was more of like host and everyone else, or like think of it like a queen bee and all of her worker bees.
Oh, okay.
Except for the queen bee is all of the worker bees.
Yeah, so she's still a bug, but she's like king bug.
Right.
At least it's that head bug.
And that's
I don't know.
I don't think the others. I don't know. I don't know if the other sisters are bugs too, or if Like it was clearly something different at the end when she like invoked the dark bells and they were like, you didn't. And they were like, I did. It's too late now. And she even said, I may not be able to stop them once they get started. So
I think she meant against her sisters.
well, who
Like,
cares?
I invoked them against you. He's like, oh, you wouldn't dare.
Well,
Like,
I agree. But I think maybe she was saying like once they get started, they'll just kill whatever they can.
oh, right. Right. Anything living anyway. Yeah, if I was Roland, I would have been like, stepping back a little bit from this situation. Well, the bugs didn't quite kill her, and then the were dog killed her.
No, the bugs killed Timur or something like that.
Oh yeah, but she set the bugs on her when they were outside, and it didn't quite work. It didn't work at all.
If she was too far away, they wouldn't hear her or something.
Yeah, too far away from what?
I guess there's a radius, it's like a walkie-talkie.
Is there like a tent pole in the tent that they're tethered to? Like, yeah, like, so if they're too far away from something, then that something is really what's controlling them, right?
I think it's them.
It might be just like their house or
because if they were
their collective will.
If they were attacking her at the house and then remember they were on the run, so they were leaving, like they were on the path away, and the bugs were still doing their thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's like too far away from headquarters almost.
Also, I like how they're both healers and hunters.
Yeah, well, but if she's controlling the bugs, shouldn't they? As long as they're near her, they should be able to do it.
I don't know how this math works.
Yeah, I would like to see more of it. Yeah. Would have been a cool path to go down. So
he calls them the can-tam, which I was like, whoa, sounds a lot like other words we've
that we are about to introduce ourselves to. She
well,
bears the dark.
We recognize some of that from Desperation too. So
with the bells?
No, not the bells. The can lamb or whatever.
Yeah. There's
what they say.
He says Calla and some other stuff. It's very.
Sorry.
What?
Go ahead.
Very Dark Towery.
Well, I looked it up. That is what they're called, the can-tam or Dr. Bugs.
Oh, okay. Well,
capable of repairing damaged human flesh or destroying it.
Do they need vampires to give them orders?
That's a good question.
What did Robin say? Are you looking at Robin?
No, I'm on Stephen King Wikipedia.
That's amazing. I was reading Fairy Tale at the gym this morning. It's amazing. I can barely keep up with what he's writing, much less the pace that he still writes at just is almost mind-boggling.
This is a can-tam or an insomnia? I'm like, wait, what? But we don't need to go about that right now.
The Dr. Bugs? That's a different rabbit hole. So I'm not going to go down that one.
Right.
Because I think we're going to read Insomnia at some point. Well, we almost have to. I was wondering if we need to read it before the end of this, but that's a pretty big diversion. So that's like an 1,100-page book in itself.
Insomnia?
But, yeah.
I don't
or 900.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 900, I think. But there's things in Insomnia that come into play in 7. It's like, do you need to know that, or is it cool to find out after the fact? Like, that's what that was about.
Yeah, I think it's fine to find out after the fact because it didn't really change my opinion.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I think we lost though.
I'm still reading that part. So the Dark Bells definitely control them because that's when she said, "Stand clear," Jenna said, "or I'll bring the can-tam on ye." No, you won't. They'll not stray so far from the others. The other women? Or the other bugs?
Read it again.
They'll not stray so far from the others. Shake your head and ring those damn bells until the clappers fall out, and still they'll never come.
That's a good question. The other...
Maybe only part of them are can-tam?
is how many can-tams make a can-tar?
How many tams can a can-tam if a can-tam?
All right. How many tams? What damn? Yeah. How many cans can a can-tam? Anyway.
Oh.
They...
I'm sorry. I just put it together. I think if you invoke the power to use the bugs for your own purposes, then you maybe become them. Maybe that's what they're saying.
That doesn't sound like a fair trade.
Because
given that, I don't think that I would invoke them unless I guess I was about to die. Even then, I don't know. I think I don't know that I want to become Dr. Bugs.
Because she says,
well, but if you would die anyways, then is there a difference?
Ew, what does that mean?
Ew.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Stand aside or I'll have them on you, Jenna said. You never would. I've already set them on Sister Kokina. She's a part of the medicine now.
Well, I get that.
Well, she's in their bodies. So, then you're damned, Sister Tamara said. Yeah, and then that's basically it. And then Roland's like, damned. What do they mean, damned?
I mean, you're already a vampire. I think that ship has sailed a long time ago. John Norman is the guy next to him.
Yeah.
When he said, would that we were better met, I'm like, I think that may be the first person he didn't say we're well met to.
Yeah.
It can happen. Or peeping tongue. I'm not sure what peeping tongue is. But, I guess it's going in and out, like you're making like hungry Harvey bean noises. Because he's talking about how she's looking at him like a roast chicken.
Sorry.
I'm just talking about the sister. I think it's Mary is looking at Roland like he's a roast chicken.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
I think if I understand, I'm reading it again, where she says, okay, so she says, I can't go back, nor would I could. I have slept with them. There were times I couldn't help it. I'd no further go down that road. If there's to be damnation, let it be of my own choosing, not theirs. So I think she's saying, I'm already damned, like you said, as a vampire. I've already eaten with them, so I would rather be damned as a bug god or whatever and choose that path instead.
Yeah, like, how did that go? I want to know about this. I've already eaten with them. Because it was like her mother made her do it almost, it seems like. What was and where's she at?
No, the impression I got was that her mom was like her and tried to leave, and she probably got killed or something and took her back to safety before she died.
She's like rebellious Deirdre running out and getting pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and how does a vampire have a kid? I guess they weren't vampires when all that happened?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to even worry about that.
Or did she just find someone like half her age and bite her? Like, now you're a vampire and you're my kid.
Well, I mean, she was, way younger than them. Roland said that.
Yeah, did he?
Mm-hmm.
So she was still, maybe that's what the thing was. So she was still new, so she didn't know the rules. She was like a teenager.
And they did say something about the bells making her connected by blood somehow.
Yeah, and I think they said something about her mom being the same way. So
I mean, that would make sense because you'd pass down through blood.
Right, with the dark bells, I mean, specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's an inherited power, whatever the hell it is. I don't.
Also, how about them having the rose on their habits. I'm like, wait a second. I guess we don't really know if the Dark Tower is good or bad.
I mean, by the time you get to this, you know what the hell the rose is.
But they're not good people. Why are they bearing the signal of the Dark Tower?
Well, they don't actually have it on them, though. I mean, that's part of their illusion.
Well, that's true. I mean, I guess, is that just to make him feel better?
Maybe.
Yeah.
To make them think that, like, this is a good and safe place that, like, he will receive healing from.
I mean, he always takes. Maybe they're hippies. They just like the Grateful Dead. He always talks about the rose being color of blood, so maybe I don't know. Maybe it's not a good image. Maybe it's not supposed to be a positive image. Maybe it's supposed to make him think about, I don't know, death and destruction and the Crimson King trying to end the world, locked in a room somehow by somebody. I don't know. Maybe it does seem like kind of a. I mean, what do you want them to have? Like a beetle? Actually, that would make more sense.
Yeah, I guess I've just like we've seen a lot of appearances of the Crimson King symbol, but not like many roses. So it's like, why are they wearing them?
Well, I guess this is probably around the time where the roses become more important, right? We're about to hit. And I think we're good on this story at this point. If you guys have anything else to say?
I don't think so.
I'm good.
I mean, we're almost at an hour, so I don't want to take too much longer. So, yeah, I don't know what the dark spells are. They call the doctor, but apparently she's the only one that can do it, and for some reason, she killed herself, basically, which I don't. Not sure I understand. I think it's funny he made her walk all night and then she died.
I didn't think she killed herself. I think that was just like the deal that she made.
Well, she killed herself in knowing that when she helped him escape. Wait, with who?
With the bugs.
So they would let her get him out if he became one of them?
No.
Like, she knew that taking control of the dark bells would damn her into becoming bugs herself.
Right.
Yeah.
She had that power before Roland, though, right?
Well, she had the dark bells, but she had never invoked them before.
How do they invoke the doctor bugs? Was it a dark? Isn't that what the dark bells do?
That's different. That's not for destruction. I feel like all of them can control the bugs in that way.
Very tentative situation. Like, no, I wanted you to heal, not kill. Like, come on. Okay. So, I guess I took it as she was a vampire and she knew at sunrise that was the end for her, and she did it anyway. So. Sounded like she killed herself to me. Maybe. Anyway, that's the Little Sisters. It's a good little creepy story, complete with vampires and got a high squirm factor.
Yeah.
Especially when you're reading, you're like, ooh, like, oh, what's that? Ooh, they're eating him. So now we get to move on.
Oh wait, I'm sorry, real quick. At the end, it says he believed he understood some of us. Okay, so he's talking about the bugs. Some of this understanding came from his memory of how Sister Mary's flesh had felt under his hands, how it had felt various, not one thing, but many. Oh wait, that's not what I thought. Part of what she said, I have supped with them. Such as them might never die, but they might change. I don't know what that even means, but
I don't think that helped.
No, that made me more confused.
What does sup with them mean? And what
the
is...
first part of that was what I was reading, where when he tried to choke Mary at first, he couldn't, and he had felt like she was many moving things. So maybe they are all bugs. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know that we ever see them again.
Right.
So
just something not going to be answered.
Yeah, I would love to see more. I could say that about everything he's written. Like, I want to know what happens next. That's my problem at the end of a book. Like, but what happens next? Although sometimes, like the last one, the Bobby one, went on a little too long. So we'll never know. I like that story though, and it's a very cool graphic novel. Also, I don't know if I got you that one or not, Amber.
Oh, Little Sisters of Eluria?
Yeah.
Check.
I think I went straight Tower. I don't know if that one made it. But so I'm looking at Wolves of the Calla, because you guys probably don't know. Frank Muller did all his audiobooks for the Dark Tower up until I think the last 3. They got someone else because Frank Muller had a heart attack and died suddenly.
Oh.
So there's a dedication at the beginning of book 5, Wolves of the Calla, that says this book is for Frank Muller, who hears the voices in my head. So it's actually a really cool dedication when you realize, what he was the audiobook voice. So he literally hears the voices in his head and puts them on tape. And I remember I've audiobooked all these. So Frank Muller is definitely the best. There's a significant drop off. You're like, wait, where's the other guy? I don't want this guy. You're almost not as into it because his voice is very, but I don't know, it fits. So if you ever audiobook it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Don't know that we should talk about the arguments yet. That should probably be for the Calla. So let's see.
The arguments.
It starts with the argument. A lot of the, not argument as in fighting, just as in basically here's what everybody says is going on up to this point. We could read part 1, and this takes it up to 202. Part 2 starts on 202 on this. So that's what I'm thinking. I don't know how that translates. My actual book is upstairs. This is on the ebook. But that sounds like a good spot to me.
261, so I'm fine with that.
You said read up to part 2?
Not included.
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah, I could do that.
What, yeah?
Huh?
What is part 2 called?
Telling tales.
Oh, okay, so it's pretty simple. He actually calls them part 1 and part 2. Yeah, let's do it. Everybody good with that? 2 weeks for you're not going to want to stop reading at this point, any of us. And then
I just read sorry, never mind.
What synopsis?
Nothing but strikes at Midworld Lane.
See, I have a shirt that says that. I wore it on our tour last year or the year before.
I remember.
On a public tour. Okay. I guess everybody's free to go. See you in 2 weeks where we go to the Calla.
All right.
So much to say. Oh my God, these are going to be long podcasts. All right. End of podcast. Everybody say bye.
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 Bye.